אני מאמין, אני מאמין, אני מאמין, באמונה שלמה, בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח אני מאמין.
On page 521. We begin with silence, the silence of death, the silence after destruction. There are times when songs falter, when darkness fills life, when martyrdom becomes a constellation of faith against the unrelieved black of space about us. There are no words to reach beyond the edge of night, no messenger to tell the full tale. There is only silence. The silence of Job, the silence of 6 million, the silence of memory. Let us remember them as we link our silences. Tonight is Shabbat. This week we commemorated Yom Hashoah. And it's always an interesting thing. You know, how do you acknowledge Yom Hashoah on a Shabbat? You know, which is joyous and happy, and Yom Hashoah is not. So how do we balance the two? And I have to say, for me, two things. One is that we know that in the camps and we know that in the ghettos, Jews never stopped celebrating Shabbat. That Shabbat was stronger than hunger. Shabbat was stronger than pain and death and sorrow. That the joy and literally the light of the candles brought a sense of hope moving forward. And so when I think about, well, when we struggle with it, they didn't. And they were able to continue celebrating some, not everybody. The other thing I think about as Jews is that I'm writing this for Sunday night for our pre-Yom HaZikaron commemoration. You know, the idea that grief and hope walk hand in hand. That, you know, on Pesach we have the maror, the bitterness, and we have the choroset together. You're not supposed to taste bitterness alone. That there's always an imperative to be able to find something to celebrate, to be able to find something, the joy, even amidst the despair or the sadness. And so we're going to do tonight what our ancestors did. We're going to acknowledge and commemorate the Shoah together as a community as we celebrate the joy. We're going to let our grief and our joy go hand in hand. We're going to let our loss for what we've lost, we're going to hold that as we celebrate who we are, being here right now and moving into the future. One does not counterbalance the other. So with that, I'm going to invite Allison up to come and light our Shabbat candles for us. And as we light the Shabbat candles, I invite us to turn to page 522, a different form of light. And we're going to read this before we light the candles.
Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the secret fastness of the heart. Blessed is the heart with the strength to stop its beating for honour's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Ashakachano Mitzvah B'Tzivano Lahalik Shashel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Yom.
142.
Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yom. Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yom. Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zetchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yom. Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On page 130, we welcome Shabbat.
קדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו.
כי גדול אדוני, הוא מלך גדול, הכל אלוהים. כי גדול אדוני, הוא מלך גדול, הכל אלוהים. כי
גדול אדוני, הוא מלך גדול על כל אלוהים. כי גדול אדוני, הוא מלך גדול על כל אלוהים. נרננה לאדוני, נריע לצוי אישנו. נרננה לאדוני, נריע לצוי אישנו. נקדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. נקדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. נקדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו.
4 lines from the bottom on page page 131.
יעלו שדי בכל אשר הוא יעלו שדי איי 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 יעלו שדי בכל אשר הוא יעלו שדי איי 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 איי
אז ירננו כל הזה אז ירננו כל הזה אז ירננו כל הזה אז ירננו כל הזה
יעלו שדי בכל אשר הוא יעלו שדי איי 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 יעלו שדי בכל אשר הוא יעלו שדי איי 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 איי
אז ירננו כל הזה אז ירננו כל הזה אז ירננו כל הזה אז ירננו כל הזה
יעלו שדי בכל אשר הוא יעלו שדי איי 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 יעלו שדי בכל אשר הוא יעלו שדי איי 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 איי
On page 132 at the bottom of the page. Oh, Zahu Hagat Sadik, Zahu Hagat Sadik. 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 Uleish Velev Simcha. Uleish Velev Simcha. Uleish Velev Simcha. Uleish Velev Simcha.
Zahu ala tzadik, zahu ala tzadik. Oh, zahu ala tzadik, zahu ala tzadik. Oh, zahu ala tzadik, zahu ala tzadik. Oh, zahu ala tzadik, zahu ala tzadik. ולאיש לב שמחה. ולאיש לב שמחה. ולאיש לב שמחה. ולאיש לב שמחה.
Oh, Zahu Hagat Sadik, Zahu Hagat Sadik. Oh, Zahu Hagat Sadik, Zahu Hagat Sadik. On page 134, sometimes we have to make a bigger effort to raise a shout to God and break into song, but it's our intention, so let's see what we can do with Haril, the slower version. תהיו לאדוני כל הארץ, לאדוני כל הארץ, לאדוני כל הארץ. תצפו ורננו וזמרו, רננו וזמרו, רננו וזמרו. זמרו לאדוני בכינו, בכינו בכל זמרה. זמרו לאדוני בכינו, בכל זמרה. At the bottom of page 137, when all else fails, may God grant strength to our people. May God grant our people with peace. Adonai Yos le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo. Adonai Yos le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo. On page 138, L'Chadodi.
L'Chadodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. l'Chadodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכו בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת לקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. על ידיש פן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום את תתפלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Before we sit down, and before we just go and introduce ourselves to someone you don't meet, I have a question for you, and I want you to share your answer with the person you introduce yourself to. On this Shabbat, where we're honoring Yom Hashoah, I want us to think about memory and joy and survival. So my question is this. We're here. What is it that we feel we survived for? What is it we're bringing? What is it that we're celebrating about being Jewish? What about Judaism are we celebrating and that we are keeping alive? Does that make sense? Our survival, right? What is it about Jewish survival that we are embodying? There we go. What is it about Jewish survival that we embody and that we're carrying forth? It's a tough one. I believe in you. Or you can just introduce yourself to someone you don't know. But I do believe in you. You can do it. What is it that we embody? What is it we're keeping on? So what about you? What is it that you're embodying and that you're surviving?
you ask embody. You ask embody. I'm very good at embodying that. I'm sorry, Megan. I like doubting.
Yes.
So I'm like, you try to convince me of something, I will try to.
Good on you. You're like Satan. But
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Satan is actually an angel. That's the kind of job. To put holes to just to make to give it strength, right? Put holes to give it strength. I love that. That is not at all an amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. All right, look at these conversations. I just love it. Okay. Should we just move on? Yeah, I don't know what time it is. I have the time. You know? Page
You're
140.
calling the shots, so I'm gonna call you. Yeah.
Let's go page 140. We're there. I like doing that
Yom Hashabbat, Tov lehodot Adonai. Mizmoshir Yom Hashabbat, Tov lehodot Adonai.
Page 140.
Uzamer לשמחה היום, uzamer לשמחה היום. להגיד בבוקר חסדיך, באמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נבר, עלי היגיון בחינוך. כי שימחני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, ועוד עמדו מחשבותיך. איש בהר לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין עצות. צדיק קטנך יפרח, כארץ בבנון יזכה. שתולים בבית אדוני, בחסרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינבון וזבח, ושניים ורענים יהיו. להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עבדת בו.
On 6 lines up from the bottom on page 141.
מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משפי ים. קולות מים רבים, אדירים משפי ים. אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משפי ים. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משפי ים. אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני, אדיר במרום אדוני.
We rise for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה
טוב יומכון ובחידך בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, דרם מן כל בחטא ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דם אירן בעלמה, באמרו אמן.
On page 146. Please be seated. We continue reading the Hebrew on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma potech sha'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et kochavim, b'mishmarotkeim barakia ketzono. Borei yom v'layla, goler or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. In the middle of page 526. We read together. I am a Jew and will be a Jew forever. Even if I should die from hunger, never will I submit. I will always fight for my people on my honor. I will never be ashamed of them. I give my word. I am proud of my people, how dignified they are. Even if I am suppressed, I will always come back to life. We continue on page 150.
Torah u'mitzvot, נסיר, ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד, שם כבוד, מלכותו לעולם, לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר חנוכי מצווך היום הלבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו הציצית הכנף פתיר תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 524, 524. You who live secure in your warm houses, who return at evening to find hot food and friendly faces, consider whether this man who labors in the mud, who knows no peace, who fights for a crust of bread, who dies at a yes or a no, consider whether this is a woman without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and womb cold, as a frog in winter. Consider that this has been, I commend you these words to you. Engrave them on your hearts when you are in your house and when you walk on your way, when you go to bed and when you rise. Repeat them to your children, or may your house crumble, disease render you powerless, your offspring avert their faces from you. Micha Mocha on page 158.
מי כמוך בהרים האדוני,
בחולצך, ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זאבי ענו ועממו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, עושה פלא. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגרו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גיא ישראל.
On page 160, we ask God to hold us in our fear, in our despair, in our darkness when it comes.
השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לשלום ועמידנו, מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקנינו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בעדנו והסר מעלינו אויב. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ועד עולם.
We continue at the top of page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
On page 525, or just sit back and listen. In the presence of eyes which witnessed the slaughter, which saw the oppression the heart could not bear, and as witnessed the heart that once taught compassion, until the days came to pass that crushed human feeling, I have taken an oath to remember it all, to remember not once to forget. Forget not one thing to the last generation, when degradation shall cease, to the last to its ending, when the rod of instruction shall have come to conclusion. We read together an oath, not in vain passed over the night of terror. An oath, no morning shall see me at flesh pots again. An oath, lest from this we learned nothing. We rise for the Amidah on page 164. We'll do the first bit once, and then we continue silently through page 180, at which point you may be seated.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ויעקב shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imnu amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
On page 570, the counting of the Omer. הנני מוכנה ומזמנת לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר. And we say together the bracha, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 16 יום שהם שני שבועות ושש שבועות ושני ימים לעומר. Today is the 16th day of the Omer, which is 2 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We count up. We count our process going out of slavery to receiving the Torah. Today, as we celebrate Shabbat, we also remember the Shoah as we left the flesh pots, as they say here of Europe, to be able to move to where we are, to be able to have Israel, to be able to be here today. Not all of us made it, but it's a journey. It's an upward journey, which is both hard work and it gets us further to where we need to go. I am so pleased that Risha Rosen has agreed to speak to us and share a little bit about her and Richard's experience in the Shoah. We don't talk about it much in our community. You talk about it amongst yourselves, but it's important to be able to honor the memory, as one of the readings said, right? Lest we forget, lest we don't hear it, lest we don't pass it on. Soon there will be no survivors left. So Risha, I'm going to invite you to come up. You're more than welcome to sit here if you'd like, or you can stand up. Yeah, now's your time. Do you want to sit or stand? Stand. Yeah, if you go up there, then we can see you and hear you. That's okay. Thank you. I'm so happy you're here, Risha. Thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Konya, for inviting me. It's a great honor to address the congregation on the topic, what Yom Hashoah means to me. I'm sure that you are all familiar with the historical facts of racism, anti-Semitism, Holocaust. There's not much else I can add to it, but every family experienced the Shoah in a different way. In 1939, my parents were deported from Poland to Siberia under the Stalin's regime. In 1940, Stalin established gulags, labor camps. It was to be his empire. 300,000 Polish Jews were deported between 1939 and 1942. 30 to 50% people died, as conditions in the labor camps, in the gulags, were very harsh and primitive. It is documented in a film titled Saved by Deportation. My father was working in the Siberian forest in freezing conditions. He was a pharmacist. Eventually, they asked him to produce new carbon paper, which did not exist. Until my father made up a mixture of soot and soap and painted the old carbon paper. We lived in an heated log hut in a settlement called Vokvad in the Komi Republic. You will probably never find it on the map. Sometime later, we were transferred to Syktyvkar, capital of Komi, with a large hospital, and my mother got a job. She was a nurse. This resulted for my parents to be able to obtain food coupons. It helped them to survive and look after me while our mother was working. The amnesty in 1941 allowed Polish citizens to join an army to fight the Germans. In 1943, my father joined the Kościuszko army, you call it Koziasko. As a pharmacist, he was there working as a pharmacist. Eventually, he was promoted to the rank of a captain, which was rare for a Jew. Established in the USSR under the British command, the army was, and that reached Leningrad and Berlin. I have many of my father's Polish and Russian medals. I display them on Anzac Day commemorations. The first 3 years of my life were spent in hospital, suffering from malnutrition and diphtheria. My brother Daniel was born in Warsaw in 1937. He was 4 years old when our family arrived in Gulag. He attended the kindergarten and school at the orphanage. My mother told me that I did not have a bed. I slept in a pillow. My parents took turns to watch over me to protect me from rats. As the war progressed and the Russians were on the winning side, my mother, with my brother and us and me, traveled in a cattle car, a long and difficult 12 months journey across USSR back to Poland. We were reunited with my father in Warsaw in 1945. My mother often told us stories about our journey as food, clothes, medicines, and essentials were scarce. The temperatures sometimes were as low as minus 40 degrees. My mother's testimony has been recorded by the Shoah Foundation. I never knew my grandparents, aunts and uncles, and their families who perished in the war. I was 4 years old when we arrived in Warsaw. I grew up as a Polish child, never knew that I was Jewish. My parents were protecting me. My brother knew, but did not understand why he was called a dirty Jew and was sometimes beaten up by the bullies. We lived in Poland till 1957. My parents believed that Jews in Poland have a place and a role to build a democratic country. However, they were shocked when the Kielce pogrom took place in 1946. They applied to leave Poland several times to go to Palestine without any luck. As they were members of the Communist Party, as everyone else was. My parents had an opportunity to send my brother with a Polish Red Cross transport to Palestine. It was a true Sophie's choice decision. This transport stopped in Paris, as the British did not allow Jewish migration. Danny stayed 4 years in an orphanage before coming back to join the family. A very difficult and traumatic time for him and my parents. Finally, Father located some distant relatives in Melbourne who guaranteed for us to migrate to Australia. We arrived in Melbourne in 1957. We were lucky that we had those families help us to settle and adjust to new life, new language, and a different climate. I was fortunate to be accepted as a student at McRobertson High without any English. It was a real challenge. I struggled, but I was determined to become an Australian citizen. At that time, friends of my parents visited us with their son, who invited me to join Hashomeh HaTzair, a youth group. I did not know what it was or who they were. I was very happy to learn about Jewish traditions, Israel, and make Jewish friends. I joined their meetings, went on camps, learned Hebrew songs and dances. I discovered a new world. Finally, I found that I belonged. I loved my new Jewish life. As our family experienced difficulties in financial situation, I left school, started a job in an office, continued my education at night at Hessed's Business College, helped parents in their business in a cake shop in Hawthorne. My connection with TBI started in 1960. At the age of 19, I got married here by Rabbi Sanger. Had 2 children, my marriage broke down. 5 years later, I became a single mother. I moved out to my mother's place with the children, tried to make a living by typing envelopes, demonstrating floral aids, whatever I could do to support them. My children attended TBI kindergarten, where I made friends with other mothers, some of whom I'm still close friends. In 1970, I married Richard, again at TBI, this time by Rabbi John Levi. Richard was also divorced, had a son Peter, who is with us here tonight, and his wife, same age as my son Mark, and we became a happy family. In 1979, Susan, my daughter, tragically died of rare cancer, and I never got over her passing. Richard is a child survivor of the Holocaust. His story is very moving and recorded in many publications and films. One of them, quite recent, was The Revenge. And the next film, which will be shown at the Classic on Sunday, is The Hunt for the Last Nazis. It will be premiered, including Q&A. The producer is Dan Goldberg, and should be interesting. Richard is a national chess master. He established a St. Kilda chess club in the 50s. On some occasions, he played against Konrad Ozols, a Latvian Nazi and collaborator. We still have the chess clock that was used when Richard played against Ozols all those years ago. And this is in the film, by the way. Richard was also a bridge grandmaster. He represented Australian Biarritz in France in 1980. Recently, Richard told me that this is his last hurrah. This is a proof that he survived the Holocaust. He was there. This is a statement for the deniers. He lost 23 members of his family in the Shoah, including his father. In 1993, Jane Marks, an American author, recorded Richard's life story in The Hidden Children of the Holocaust. In 1994, Dr. Paul Vallant published a book, Child Survivors of the Holocaust, and Richard's story is in there. Dr. Vallant established Child Survivors Group. Richard was an active member for many years. In 1997, Richard was the founder of the Friends of the Jewish Holocaust Museum and Research Center for 10 years. Richard helped restore archives, was a guide at the center. In 2014, we traveled to Palo Alto, to the USA, to see a play by Malcolm White titled My Name is Richard Rosen. In 2000, students of Prahran College put on a play, Featherboy, at St. Martin's Theatre, and I'll tell you why Featherboy in a minute. Richard was robbed of his childhood. Hidden with his parents in a Polish village in a cellar cupboard for over 12 months. When the money ran out, they were told to leave. They walked into the forest to be caught by the Ukrainian collaborators. Richard's father was a doctor. He was useful to them. Dr. Pinkus Rosenzweig perished in that forest. Richard, aged 9, had to earn his keep, became a feather boy, testing German soldiers after skirmishes with a feather to see if they were still breathing. He lived on a tree or underground with rags covering his feet instead of shoes in Polish very severe winters. On his 9th birthday, they gave him a loaf of bread, half sawdust. It was the best ever birthday present, he said. Richard has been an Australia Day ambassador, speaking on Australia Day to many Victorians. The topic was what Australia Day means to me. He always concluded his presentations by saying that he dedicates his talk to the 1.5 million children who were murdered in Shoah. After the war, Richard and his mother went back to Radom to be greeted by hate. They left Poland to live in Paris with his uncle and family. Unfortunately, Richard was placed in an orphanage as his mother had no means to care for him. Richard and his mother arrived in Melbourne in 1952. They were sponsored by Dora and Barry Katz. Dora was his aunt. They slept on a mattress in the hallway, but it was heaven. Richard recalls that he had his first full glass of milk at the age of 16. What a luxury. Slowly he and his mother rebuilt their lives, but never forgot their tragic losses, cruelty, anti-Semitism in Poland, France, and now, unfortunately, in Australia. Richard and I have dedicated our lives for Jewish and general community, holding many leadership roles. I had the privilege to serve as president of National Council of Jewish Women of Victoria, as well as nationally. In between, I was president of National Council of Women, which is not Jewish. I also was on the committee of the Caulfield Park Community Bank, the Bendigo Bank. I also, I did many things. I had a business of body corporate, so I've been busy. My connection with TBI is also very strong. I served on the board, chaired Honours Committee with my friend Evelyn, and I still am in a small way, also helped wherever it was needed. I volunteered at the Sacred Heart Mission dining room, etc. Many years ago, Richard was invited by Rabbi Fred Morgan as a guest speaker at TBI on the Shoah commemoration, just like me today. Unfortunately, Richard's not well. He couldn't come tonight. We are both recipients of many awards, including the Order of Australia medals. Until recently, Richard was active in the Courage to Care organization. We are very lucky to be able to contribute and to continue to assist wherever we can. We are blessed with two wonderful sons and their partners. They are all high achievers. We have nachas from them and our two grandchildren. I still assist at National Council of Jewish Women of Victoria, the Golden Age Club for the elderly Russians, residents of the Housing Commission flats during Hagim. We hope and pray that peace will prevail in Israel and around the world. As we age, we entrust the younger generation to take on our challenges. Thank you.
Kol hakavod, thank you. When I asked everyone earlier, what is your story of survival? What do you embody in terms of what you want to carry? You told us your story, literally all of us right now, and from what you came to sleeping on a pillow, and Richard's story. I had no idea that Rabbi Morgan asked your husband to do that either.
Yes, I remember that.
Minds. There you go.
Yes.
But your story of survival and your leadership and taking that from the difficult times and taking it celebrating it, leading us, women leading the Jewish community, this congregation and beyond, is such a gift. Your survival is such a gift. Thank you for sharing it to those of us who've never heard your story, and we are truly blessed because of you and your family, so thank you.
But I'm blessed with the support I have.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sharon. Thank you very much. I'm going to invite everyone now to turn to page 531, 531.
So wie kein Mut hast du Geisterens der Weg, wenn Himmel neue Nerven stellen neue Tag, kein Wollte unser uns gebänkte Schau, spät der Point und unser träumt wir seinen Dom, kommen Wollte unser gebänkte Schau, spät der Point und unser träumt wir seinen Dom. From land all green with palms to land so white with snow, we now arrive with all our pain and all our woe. Where our past breeders and kings who touch the land, there our courage and our faith will rise and stand. From our past breeders and kings who touch the land, there our courage and our faith will rise and stand.
Turn to page 586 for the Aleinu.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה כיוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה.
On the bottom of page 595. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. At this time in the service, we remember in Shiv'ah, Suzanne Kopolov and Sam Granick. In Shloshim, we remember Michael Sweet, Goran Ofsen, Jennifer Rosenthal, David Kingston, Adam Zaitman, Helen Light, Reuben Urban, and Ralph Nathan. The yahrzeits of those in our community, we remember Gunther Benjamin, Sylvia Finch, Julie Frey, Jesse Guild, Ann Goldstein, Felix Halpern, Gerda Herling, Jillian Holding, Gunther Jacob, Leila Kleiman, Andrew Kopatsky, Stella Korabielnik, Michael Korabielnik, Sabina Lewin, Felicia Lewin, Nathan Lewin, Chaim Lewin, George Marquis, Gogo Schuler, Michael Siegel, Simon Zareshki, Anna Zareshki, Suzanne Silberer, Paula Silberscher, Joe Solomon, Hans Spitz, Rose Starr, Mariette Steiner, and Walter Wagner. If there is anyone else in mourning or observing Yahrzeit, I invite you to share the names aloud or in your heart as I look around the room. The 6 million who perished in the Shoah, we remember them now. We remember all of the lives lost that could have been because they lost their lives. And we remember all of those who lost their lives in Israel and the Middle East. And we remember all of those who have no one left to say Kaddish for them. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We turn now to page 598 for the Kaddish Yatom, the Mortis Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam amei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha, v'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. Please be seated. I'm going to give you a microphone. No, you need to do it for those online.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And thank you, Rabbi Konya and Ido and Sharon, for leading us in this Yom HaShoah Shabbat service. It's so important that we keep their memories alive. And thank you, Risha, for sharing your story. Some announcements. This Sunday night will be a very big concert in preparation for Yom HaZikaron. All the information is on our website. It's been emailed, so please use the QR code to register. It starts at 8 p.m. and it's actually, we're not announcing the venue, but the venue is here. You heard it from me. Open day for Beit Sefer Chaim is happening on the 28th of April at 4:30 p.m. Tuesday. So if you know people whose children are not at a Jewish school or who might have an interest in joining our school, that's what Beit Sefer Chaim is. It happens on a Tuesday afternoon at 4:30, and that's when the information session for parents is. We have a panel discussion around the book Ruptured. If you don't know what that is a book that was published about a year ago of stories of Jewish women of Australia and their responses after October 7. What is it like to be a Jewish woman in Australia? We have a wonderful panel of 4 of the authors and Lee Kaufman, who is the publisher, and she will be coming and interviewing them. One of the speakers is actually a member of Temple Beth Israel, that's Elise Hurst, and she will be on the panel. Our next Scholars Series starts on the 7th of May, Learning Torah through music with our very own cantor Michelle Lalum, 7:30 on a Thursday night. We have Erev Shavuot on the 21st of May, and we'll have a number of events for all ages for Shavuot, so save the date and registration will be up on our website. On the 24th of April, which is actually next Friday night, Kabbalat Shabbat, we will be having an Israel Shabbat with an Israeli potluck dinner. So we'd invite you to join us, but we'll be celebrating the Israeli families in our community. And we also have an interfaith Shabbat on Friday the 1st of May with a pre-neg here at 5 p.m, followed by a Shabbat service. So we really encourage you to come along, bring friends who are not Jewish, bring friends who are interested to learn more about who we are. I'm sure we all have those friends who want to know where we go on a Friday night. Bring them along, they're welcome. Also Yom HaZikaron and Yom Ha'atzmaut, there are big community-wide events on the 20th and the 21st of April. So if you go on the Zionism Victoria website, you'll be able to find more information about them. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much. Next Monday and Tuesday night is one of the community events are. Please register. We've got a history of poor attendance from our progressive community to the larger community events. I want to prove them wrong this year. So hopefully we can support each other through the difficult time and also celebrate together. So that would be lovely. I invite all of us to turn to page 653 for our final song, Eli, Eli, written by Hannah Senesh. I pray that these things never end. We rise for Kaddish on page 122. 122. Sharon, you can come over here. Vayer vayvoker yom hashishi, vayechol hashemayim v'aretz v'kol tzava'am, vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i v'kadeshoto ki vo shava mikol malakto asher bara Elohim la'asot savri.
L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahabahu v'ratzon hinchiranu zikaron v'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila v'mikra'e kodesh zecher yitziat Mitzrayim ki banu b'chata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahabahu v'ratzon hinchatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. And Motzi. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. All right, that was Shabbat shalom.